Greetings, programs. Welcome to Stegosaurus Studios. My name is Mike, and I'm out here in the shop. It's going to be another beautiful day. First off, need to address it has been a very long time since I've put one of these together. I don't really have any good excuses. I went for a week of vacation, and then when I got back, I got lazy sickness. That was very lazy, and then I got back into working, and then had a lot of setbacks and got a lot of frustrations, and so that again, not good excuses, but I try to put these out every 2 weeks. So hopefully we'll get back into it. Anyway, I will talk about those setbacks and frustrations, and then some progress coming up. All right, so it's been such a long time. I don't actually remember what the last episode, how it ended. I think I was talking about ditching the Arduino because I was having lots of issues with it. So let's pick up there. So I've done that. So this is a ESP32. So bought those, and I have started converting over, and that's where some of the setbacks and frustrations have occurred. So first off, I bought these from Amazon, and the listing said they were ESP32S, and they're not. They're ESP32, and it took me some. So I mean, I basically couldn't get a program even to upload to it. Couldn't get it to recognize the board until I, with some trial and error, finally figured out it was an ESP32. So actually, let me address the hardware, and then I'll get back to some of the frustrations. So the Arduino, imagine this is an Arduino. It has, in order to communicate on CAN, it has a shield that connects down, basically sits right on top of it and connects pin to pin. So the ESP32 is CAN capable. So it does not require, well, let me rephrase that. It has the CAN controller, but it still needs a second piece of hardware because it doesn't have the CAN transceiver. So I've got this little WaveShare CAN transceiver. So you still need two pieces of hardware. A little bit unfortunate. And then the way that ESP32 works is there are quite a few pins that they call GPIO pins, general purpose input output, and they are configurable in code. So within the code, in order to make the CAN pins, there's code can.setPins parenthesis CAN-RX, comma CAN-TX parenthesis. I thought that expression was looking for physical pin numbers within the parenthesis. And so I was trying lots of things and looking at pinout diagrams and counting pins, and not getting any love. Basically, the code was like, it would, as soon as I issued a CAN command, it would just lock up, it would stop. It turns out that expression is actually looking for, not for physical pin, but for GPIO pin number. And once I figured that out, I could get the program to at least run. Now I'm still having some communication error. It's not going out to the board and like getting, like if I do an information query to bring back all the information on the Tiny Mover board, it's not bringing any information back. So at that point I had it with the with ESP and Arduino, and so I set that aside. I got frustrated. I'll get back to it. I'll figure it out someday. So anyway, but I have had some good progress, which is great, and that is on the right arm. So I'm going to show a little video. Apologize. I should have moved the camera closer than I had it. So that you could actually see the right arm. But anyway, watch the vid and come back and we'll talk a little bit more about it. So we have Dummy in another torture device here. So this is the test. Finally have his right arm together. I've got him taped to the steering wheel, and you might recognize this as the hand wrist tester board. I just put this on the other side. So I'm gonna move his hand back and forth, or move the wheel back and forth, and as I do this, I can see that his arm's staying loose. It's not binding anywhere, and the wrist and elbow and everything are keeping the wrist or the hand on the wheel. So, you know, in the final version, they'll be glued to the steering wheel. So I think this is a good test, and it's good to see him driving, and I think he likes it. All right. Did you watch it? Good. So take home is the right arm is tracking the steering wheel without any sort of binding. I was very happy with that. So one thing though, I am going to make two small changes. So Dummy's fingers are flat, and the steering wheel, of course, is round, and that, you know, looking into the future, when I glue his hand onto the steering wheel, it's not a lot of surface area. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, in the 3D modeling, I'm going to add a couple of pins to the steering wheel and then a couple of holes in his fingers that will mate over the pins. So that way he will maintain his grip on the steering wheel, because, you know, we don't want him to lose control and then run over Grogu or something like that. That would be bad. Anyway, good progress on the right arm. I'd call the right arm done. Now I've also worked on the left arm, and so why don't you just watch the video on the left arm and we'll talk about it when you come back. Well, it's Dummy left arm testing time, and so I've got him, basically this is a kind of a makeshift operation here. So he's sitting on a couple filament boxes actually, and this box here has a hole kind of cut into it. This is emulating the armrest, right? Because his arm is going to be resting on this armrest. So let me take you through the intended operation first, and then I will show you everything that I screwed up. And it's a lot. Okay, so there's a motor right here, and then there's a sprocket right here, a gear tooth sprocket, and there's supposed to be a chain going between the two. I haven't put the chain on yet, but that's what it is there for. So when the motor operates, it moves the chain, and that will move his arm up and down. And then down here, there's a plate. There'll be a second motor attached and actually bolted to the sidewall of the armrest. And when that motor turns, it will move his arm side to side. So the intent would be it would go up like this, and then he would wave his arm side to side, and then he'd be waving. Okay, so that's the intended operation. And now I'll talk through everything that I goofed up. So to start, I actually modeled this with the sprocket and the motor on the inside. And if I do that, there's no space between his leg, and there's not enough space for this motor that's clamped onto the shaft. So that won't work. But even if I did it, and I'm going to pull this off. So even if there was space, so flip this around. So this was the way it's modeled, and it's upside down. So that's right side up, that's upside down. What I actually did was I modeled a right arm in place of the left. So it's actually upside down in the model because it's a right arm and not a left arm. And then, so if I swap it to this, to the way it's shown here, this now is the inside of the arm is supposed to be over here. This is the outside of the arm, which is now on the inside. So that won't work. Well, I might just leave it because, you know, it's a pit droid. Maybe he broke his arm and all he could find was another right arm. I don't know. So I've got some thinking to do on how I'm going to do this. One thought is if I extend the length of this pivot, this shaft, further down, I could actually get it under the seat, so that it and then add some clearance under the seat so that the motor would go that way. So that would allow it to at least be that way, but it would still be, if I use this piece, upside down. So the one issue I have with what I don't like is if I keep it the way it is, this makes for a very thick armrest, thicker probably even than what's shown here. And that's like a third or half the size of the seat. And it feels too thick. Like when you look at the scale of his body compared to, you know, a really thick armrest, it might look a little screwy. So I got some rethinking to do, see how I'm going to tackle this. The concept works great. I was happy with the way I designed it, but, well, except for, you know, making it the right arm instead of the left arm. Anyway, we got work to do. All right. Okay. I think in that video I probably described pretty much everything that's going on. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop development on the left arm for now. I think it's close. I'm going to design the seat and the armrest, and then put dummy in the seat and put everything together, and then see what's the best path forward for the motor and the spindle down there, whether it's extend it to get it under the seat, whether it can go with the armrest, it can go the way it is, I don't know. So, and then I have to decide on the whole left-right thing if I'm gonna, that was a real bear to do all the CAD on that, and I'm not looking forward to redoing it. So I'm really leaning toward just using that right arm in place of the left. So anyway, I will, that's next up is to start the seat design. And then I've been still working on the drives. So this is the drive wheel sitting right here reminding me. I've started the CAD work on it, and I've decided I'm going to make a cardboard model. I'm having a hard time envisioning in three-dimensional space everything come together within Fusion. So I'm going to model it, I think, in cardboard, so that I can turn it around and look at it and feel better. So that will be coming up in a future episode as well. So take care, get out and enjoy the weather. Well, it's beautiful here. I don't know if it's beautiful where you are, but we'll see you later.